So what I'm suggesting is we figure out some way to make tickets that allows for this. What did you call it? The what is the one page of a spread called? What would you call that? Like if you're
A spread.
so like spread. Okay, one spread, two spread, three spread, four. And so let's just work with four. And you were saying you were making a ticket that was spread one, spread two, spread three, spread
Yep.
four. And you're a great jam maven. So you knew if you moved S1 into in progress, it was, quote, bad if you left it there and then moves without moving this one to done. Right.
Right.
This is this
Right.
feeling that you're now having this imposition of, oh, now I'm screwing up the romp process too.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. So what we want to do is create a ticket that shows, um, like maybe for a while you do go to time-based spreads or you do some analysis in your planning and you test in to see if you can have a sense of, oh, I'm probably going to want to play with these four. Like, do you have a sense of you just kind of intuitively go to the tickets?
No, but the time-based one has worked for me in the past. Like if I just say, hey, I'm just gonna sit here and do a 15-minute chunk on this dummy. It doesn't even matter what I get done, but I'm just gonna sit here and work for 15 minutes. That is like a, a little more freeing to me because I don't feel the pressure of I have to get this drawing right or have to finish this spread. But I know that I can sit here and work for 15 minutes where I don't know if I can finish this spread. That feels hard.
Okay, perfect. So then I what I invite you to do, because at all times when, so first of all, ditch all those tickets. First of all, I mean, I look at your board and I'm like, oh, because I have high yellow. I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
and that's why I'm like, make them more fun. Like it's probably some of me projecting on you. Please
Yeah.
don't do that to yourself every week. So, but
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
telling me that those aren't really working anyway.
Right. Right.
So why don't we do you, meaning you, but you experiment with something, work on dummies. And now there's interesting ways, like I have said to you all before, I think it's somewhere, I don't know if it's in a lesson you watch. Are you good with putting a personal invite in your calendar and that's protected time, like for writing, working on a dummy? Or do you just need to say, I'm going to grab 15 minutes anywhere? Like what's more real with your schedule?
Um, I've never tried putting something on my calendar.
So it does, so you could
Um,
say, so you could say, let's just say, how many how many sessions of dummy work would you do you think you do in a week? Or like, because also you're probably having to make more tickets because you're thinking, could you bring your tickets down to say like work on dummies for an hour, or is it more like 15-minute blocks you're working? Like what really time wise when you get into it are you doing?
I think I think I have for sure 2 hours a day mentally that I can do this type of work.
Okay, perfect. So now you only have to make 5 tickets.
But 2 hours, I feel like a 2 hour ticket is too long. Like,
Why?
because I need more, like, I want to move more things. Like, the 2 hour block feels too long.
So
Like, I
move
want
perfect.
to,
So moving the
yeah.
tickets within the 2 hour block helps you.
Hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to tell we did an experiment with Sandra who was kind of in in a revision process, and So here's what I'm going to recommend is you, which will take the burden off your making. I want you to make, I invite you, you can decide if you want to do this, to make the 5 tickets, 2 hours a day, work on dummies. You know, your definition of done is 2 hours a day. I,
Okay.
if that is interrupted time, you can do what, we talked, what Chris was talking about doing, where she stops the clock. So you can have a timer to say, okay, I did 15 minutes. So you can be
Okay.
right. So within
Mhm.
that, you don't even have to feel pressure because I've said before to you all, if a ticket is in the in progress for a day, that's not dragging, but you still want to hold yourself accountable if your definition of done is to 2 hours. So if you get up or catch yourself doing like Chris did, stop the clock. But
Okay.
I would say also part of your definition of done is this ticket is to, as you finish something or get, it doesn't even have to be finish the dummy, but you can say progress spread one. You make the ticket in that moment to move it
Oh, after I finish it.
because then you know what the ticket is and you're not putting your
Hmm.
pressure on yourself. That is honoring your green, that you have those 5 tickets and that you're building into the definition of done of those tickets, that each time you have something, you make a ticket to move to give you that done boost.
Hmm.
So this is how, like, when I first start working with someone, we have to go way basic because I'm like, yes, make the ticket. Think about that. You were so funny though when I said I gave you the first ROM to, learn how to do everything, and you just would not be contained. You're like, "Can I make all my own tickets?" And I was like, "I really wish you wouldn't, but it's you." Um, but to have people just have this experience of the power of moving the tickets, now you're at a
Hmm.
different level of adeptness and know-how with the process. So we have to bust you out of that almost beginner mode and give you more elegance and possibilities to really start customizing it to you. So, your definition of done of this ticket is the time and making those tickets to move within the
Hmm.
2 hours to give you the done boost. Because a definition of done always doesn't have to be one thing. It just, you're ideally not having a novel of all the things you have to get done. But since part of your definition of done is to create the tickets as you finish them, and I mean, Sheree, just think for a second how much more burden this is going to take off your planning a romp because you're
Yeah, then
not
I'll have to make all the, yeah, right.
okay.
I I think too what could work. I want to try this one. I also think that maybe I have these, I've made them before, like a spreadsheet or a ROM tracker or jam, whatever you want to call it, but where I can color in when I've done each thing because I have to do all of these steps for this spread, all of these steps for this spread. I think
Oh yeah.
I want more things. I know that I like checking things off, and I need to give my brain plenty of things to check off.
Okay, so one ticket on your board is make your custom tracker,
Hmm.
and you then you may not have to make the tickets after if you just have that lined up and you're filling in this. I actually love trackers and actually what you're saying of a repeatable process, because if you have that on your wall
Hmm.
in your done column and you're seeing that thing fill in, it is such a validation of progress, but also immediately helps your planning. You can just look at that thing. Oh, I don't have that one done. I feel like I have the mental energy to go back to that step on that thing.
Hmm.
So, so you making your custom version of a tracker for the dummy book, I think you're supposed to have, like 32, isn't it 32 spreads or something for a picture book?
32 pages, yeah. Hmm.
Okay, so you could set that up.
Right.
Um, so do you, so how is this landing with you?
This feels good. I do wonder, um, still that repetitive thing, which you said about making it more fun that I can't quite. I think that's another thing, but I think this gives me a good jumping off point to change what I've been doing and experiment with a new process.
Hmm.
But I suspect that it's still missing a little bit of that like
Okay.
fun, but I don't, but maybe that'll come later, continue to experiment with, but
So,
because I agree with you about making it more fun. I just haven't figured out a way to do that that doesn't feel like a whole extra chore of like, well, now let me invent some verbs to make it more fun.
okay,
That,
so let's ditch the
yeah.
verbs. And we don't have to do the verbs anyway because you're not making those tickets anymore.
Hmm.
Okay. So with a tracker, you could get a bunch of fun stickers instead of coloring them in or just putting a checkbox. Like you could get
Yeah.
goofy stickers like one of people really like scratch and stick sniffers stickers. She sniffs
Yes.
the stickers. Um, and so every done ticket she moves, it's just part of her process that she puts the sticker
Hmm.
on the done ticket. It's like this other, extra little special thing. Um, so being fun, if something like using a fun, like, yeah, it would be a pain in the patootie to have to come up with 15 different quote fun verbs, and then it would be not fun anymore. But something
Hmm.
that is light and playful, or um I don't know, I'm just thinking like with your game, maybe something with games or board games, or I mean, I
Hmm.
don't, your um but this goes to know how again, because
Hmm.
maybe stickers aren't playful for you, but they just so work for her, right?
Right.
And to it was interesting because that writer said to me at one point, she's like, "Well, can I do that? Could I actually use stickers? Like, isn't that childish?" And I'm like, "It's your freaking creative process. And if putting stickers on it helps
Hmm.
you get something done, who are we trying to impress?
Right.
Who so what I invite you to do, if I make a suggestion to you and you're like, Christine, that doesn't sound fun, that's the important thing. And I'm happy to keep brainstorming, but just because I say something doesn't, you are in charge of your process. And your instinct that says there's still something about fun, you could experiment. I don't know, you're an artist, you could
Hmm.
experiment with colors, you could, one of the one writer started to do paper chains. She just wanted to get all the paper chains done, and so she just had a, and then you can throw the paper chain away. But like anything that makes you smile or adds a lightness to it, um, or even, journaling of like, you absolutely do have the organization down, the action down. And so maybe it's just the part of you that is more yellow, if we're using this HPDI language, just has gotten a little bit of a short shift because, is that the right word? Short shift? Short shift has gotten the short end of the straw. We'll find the right cliche. Um,
Yeah.
Shrift. There's some, okay, I'm going to stop, or I'm not, I'm just going to, I'm going to get a little obsessive. Um, Maybe that part of you just hasn't been as honored much in your system because something that felt more wrong, and it doesn't fit as much into the, you just have to churn work out, because that's like, but I didn't finish that and I'm looping around and then I'm not really committed and all this stuff. But that in the HBI model, you want all those parts, right? And it's making space for them and honoring them, and really finding balance in the way you get your creative work done, again, to meet your brain where it is.
Hmm.
And so I would suggest part of your writerly work is just, maybe you have an extra question at the end of every romp in your romp wrap of, did I experience that as fun? And, maybe right for the short term, as you're playing with this dummy book thing, your question, your answer, instead of what change will I make, is what experiment what could I do to make this more fun?
Hmm.
And be open to that coming from, try wild things. And if it helps you have more fun and more lightness of getting this, I mean, you've been a trooper. You're not letting up on this, right? You're not. You may feel like, okay, I'm kind of avoiding it, but you that part is there. You're going to get it done. We just want to make it easier and make it. I'm just curious to see what you're going to say after you adjust your tickets to not
Hmm.
hold yourself to that really strict.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I can see a little bit of that in this current romp, this project I'm working on. It was for this kind of little social media challenge that I enjoyed doing last year, and I wanted to do it again this year, and it starts on Tuesday. And I was going to do four of the seven pieces, and I haven't even finished the first piece because I have actually been allowing myself this week to play with it and be more in that yellow space. And I've been thinking more about character and experimenting with the way I draw and kind of addressing some of these craft things. But it has been a constant uh, conversation with myself of like, hey, it's okay. It doesn't matter if I have something to post on Tuesday. This is actually the work I want to be doing. I'm
Mhm.
experimenting, I'm playing with it. So I see some of that happening even in that project.
Yeah, and ways that we you can kind of tune in to what's fun is think of things you like doing as a kid. Because somewhere along
Mhm.
the way, a lot of us think, now I'm adult now, and I can't be silly, or I can't be, because sometimes fun things are silly things. And, maybe it's
Mhm.
wearing a different color, or I don't know, put it, I mean, just, maybe you put a hat on. Like, that's why people listen to music. They switch themselves to an altered state. So what switches you to a lighter, more fun space that infuses this getting these dummy books done, again, meeting yourself where you are, meeting your process balance where it is right now. And, that this doesn't mean, like, even in just think of the progression, what we're saying is, hey, you learned how to do the romp process really well. You're very clear on these very broken down definitions of done. But yeah, we have to, because I know you have the call as well. Um, but now you're adding another layer of refinement and elegance to, okay, I know that, but it's not quite aligned with how I get creative work done.
Mhm.
So, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, this is
So,
all very helpful.
yay.
Um, I'm now looking forward to exploring tickets in relation to the dummy, whereas before it was kind of like, I just have to do it to get it done. So, yeah.
So, um my hallucination is that maybe just this opening to experimentation is going to add a level of fun
Hmm.
in and of itself, because you're not forcing yourself into something that you intuitively knew wasn't working, but you kept circling around the same, I have to break down my tickets in this way.
Hmm.
You just kept slicing and dicing to honor the romp process instead of redefining your definition of done to honor this. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's close this out with you, kind of your gems and takeaways and the next actions that you're going to do here.
Yeah. Um, so one of my gems is realizing that I have another fuzzy perfectionist definition of a dummy that I don't even know what it is. That's that I'm holding above my head and making myself crazy. Um, and then I think just remembering how much I like trackers and checking things off, and that's such an important part of um, my motivation. Definitely another.
And is
Uh,
and is fun for you.
yes, and it's fun for me. Yes,
See? Okay.
yes. Um, and then the idea that I have, there's more room to incorporate myself into the planning process and into the raw process and in the way that I create the tickets, and that I don't have to be stuck in doing process the way that I think it should be done. But
I think you just got the whole point of good jelly.
yes, to summarize, Goodjelly. Yes, but I don't think I didn't see it in this aspect.
Mhm.
Like I understood that concept in other parts of my planning and creative work, but I didn't see it in this one. So
Yeah.
now I'm seeing it in this one.
Yeah, and this is, this is I think I've talked on other calls about generalization that sometimes I talked about it in the case study with Chris because if you take some time, it may be easier for you now to generalize this to other places like, oh, this
Mm,
aha, where's my perfectionist having this standard that I don't know where it is. So it might start generalizing faster now that you
mhm,
had this first leap out of I could easily apply it to this, but this one was still a pickle for me.
mhm.
These are important takeaways that, and it's an illusion that like your perfectionist isn't going to come in again because you figured this out, right?
Yeah,
Like
right.
that's the other thing. Like just kick your inner perfectionist or your inner critic out. No, those are parts of you, and so we want ways to play with them. So this is awesomeness. And
Yeah.
I'm excited to see, your boards. And with this, it may be interesting for you to honor that part of you who likes the process part. I don't think you've been taking pictures of your boards at the end. I know you put your board up in the beginning, but it may be interesting for that part of your brain to have the before and after where your tracker filled, especially since those aren't going to be kind of in the ticket. So you really have that sense, maybe when you're looking
Hmm.
back for your annual celebrations, that you have that visual picture of these tickets turned into this done,
Hmm.
because that is for those parts like your inner max or an inner jammer, you want that evidence
Yep.
because that evidence calms those parts of you down, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
everyone, let us know what ahas you got from us doing this case study and give a shout out to Sheree for being brave and doing this. Happy day, happy creating, happy jamming. You've got this.